This is Tamara coming to you from the Makerspace, and today we're going to work with our Carvey milling machine. I'm very excited because I am learning right along with you. I am so excited about being able to use the Carvey. There's so many different things you can do with it. For example, you can do this design here, which is all carved out, and it is sunk into the wood, and it's using a lot of different bits and depths. You can see some of them are a lot thicker and some of them are a lot thinner as far as the depth goes. Or you could do something like this where you actually can carve out the letters or the image itself. You can see we did a nice little wrench here, and you can actually do the carving on the inside and just do like a little puzzle. You stick them back in. Or you can work with different types of materials. We have this CDC, and you can see there's lots of different colors here in this piece of plastic. And when you actually do the carving, it actually pulls out this really cool effect that's actually cut out. And this is just you can see the green coming through, is just a cut into it. And what we're going to do today actually is we're going to make a stamp, and this stamp is going to be really beautiful because you'll be able to stamp it and put it onto paper. The tools that we'll need to program our design is the laptop with the Inventables website, a measuring stick, the materials that we're going to be carving out of, and our calibration tool. All right, here we are on the Inventables website. I'm going to come up here to easel right there, and I'm going to click on that, and that's going to take me to this page to explore my easel. And as you can see, all my projects that I have already done is showing up right here. I did a nice little mushroom stamp earlier, but we're going to start a new project this time. So I'm going to come over here to New Project and click on that. And that's going to pull up our bed that we're working on, as well as an image of what our project is going to look like, so you can kind of see as you're designing it exactly what it's going to approximately look like. All right, so we want to make a couple of changes before we actually get started. Coming up here to the birch plywood. That is not the materials that we're going to be working with. Of course, you know we're going to be working with this linoleum. This is going to be our stamp material. I'm going to click on this, and this is where we're going to actually make a lot of changes. So I'm going to click here where it says birch plywood. I'm going to change my material. It's very important to do it because when you're clicking on or you're choosing the material that you're using, you want to make sure that the drill bit will just go into the proper depths. You don't want it to actually go really thick into it when you're trying to do something that's delicate, or you're working with something that is really thick and you're using a delicate setting and nothing happens. Okay, so the width and the length, normally we would measure the length and the width of our wood that we're going to be using, but because this is so thin and so small, we're actually going to leave that right the way it is, because we want to have freedom of putting this wherever we need to on our bed over here. But the thickness is incredibly important. So let's take our little calibration machine here, and then push it all the way to the end there and make sure it's on. And you can see that is at 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So now that we've done that, I'm going to actually open that up and put my material in there. And now we're at 0.899. So that is what I want to put down for the thickness. 0.899. All right, so you can see that kind of changed how thick this material is. And that is also important so it knows exactly how thick into the material we want to go. One other thing that's very important is we want to make sure that we are using the correct bit. So we're going to use 1/16 inches. And so I'm going to change that. And you can see right here how that has changed. Now, let's come on over here to this side. We're going to start doing our design. And you can see that there's a lot of different options that you have here. These are shapes. You can put letters on there. You can put little symbols, little images. This is going to be where we're going to be able to look for different types of things that we want to do, and we'll go back into that more later. Let's go ahead and find our image that we want to use. I have a whole bunch of options here. We have a lot of Christmas holiday things, but I'm not ready for Christmas quite yet. I want to do a yogi. There we go. So you see how she looks over here, just really deeply embedded into your wood. That's not exactly what we want to do. We want to come over here to this part, and we want to make sure clear out a pocket. That's definitely what we want to do. But in order to make this a stamp, instead of just clearing out the image out of our linoleum, I want to come over here to the apps. Remember, we were going to talk about that a little bit later. Well, now is the time. Let's click on it, and you can see there's a lot of different things that you can do with it. You can make boxes, you can make inlays, you can do puzzles, maze generators, etc., etc. And I'm actually going to search for stamp. And there we go, stamp maker. So let's click on that. And it says it's going to turn your design into a stamp by inverting it. So you know how it was actually digging into the linoleum with the image. We're going to actually make it raise up this time. So it's going to invert it, and we're going to add a background. So let's go ahead and import that. And you can see here that has completely changed how that is going to look. Instead of sinking deep into the linoleum, it's raising it up above the linoleum, and we're going to carve around it. We want to remove that lovely outline there. I don't want that on my image. We want to make sure she is centered where you want her to be. And then we're going to select both the image and the stamp and come over here and do a right click, and you can see where the word combine is. That's the same as grouping as you would find in a lot of different types of image related software that you use on computers. We're going to combine these two, and now you can just move this around wherever you want it to go. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to see exactly how big my linoleum is going to be. Let's go ahead and take a measurement. Okay, so let's measure our linoleum. And you know, I called this a calibrator a second ago. It's actually a caliper, but it is calibrating the thickness. But that is not what we're going to use to do that. We're going to actually use this measuring stick. So I want to figure out what my length and width is. So that is 3 by 2. Now, I want to show you that we want to make sure that the width is the 3 inches and the height is the 2 inches. So you're actually working with the longer part as the width instead of doing it in this direction. All right, now we know that the linoleum is 3 inches wide and 2 inches tall. So we want to use this grid as our friend. As you can see, you see these boxes on the back, that is going to be our inches. And you can tell from the bottom here and the side here what those measurements are. So each line is an inch. Here we go. And so because we want to do, actually I want to turn her sideways so that we get the integrity of the image the way I want it to look, instead of getting her all short and squatty when we want her to be long and lanky. So we're going to do this 1, 2, 3 boxes there, right? And it's 2 by 3, so you can see this is just a tad bit taller than what we want. We actually want to use this. These little things will move, these little boxes on your image will move you'll be able to open them bigger or smaller. That if you do in the corners, it will proportionately move. If you do it on the edges, it will move what you need to on the edges. So we want to do 3, okay, so I'm going to do that by 2. And you can see that's a lot better than trying to make it work the other direction where she would be short and squatty. So the next thing I want to do is actually, because of the way we're going to do this, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that we have room for our clamps when we put the stamp in. All right, let's put our linoleum into the carving machine so that we can get this ready to get started. Now, the tools that we're going to want to have are not only these clamps here, but we have these as well. And I will explain that to you in just one moment. First thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the corner piece here has something to anchor. Because we're not actually going to put our linoleum into the corner, we have this little piece here that I'm going to put here on the edge to anchor it. So let me go ahead and tighten this in. This way it acknowledges that we actually have something in the machine. Now, when we were doing this earlier, we wanted to make sure that we were working with the full board here so that we can place our wood where we want it to go. And we want to make sure it is 3 from the side and 3 from the top. And as you can see, this grid is exactly what you would see on that software that we were using. So 3 from here and 3 from the top. So I'm going to go down just a little bit. So 3 from the side and 3 from the top. And now I'm going to add these little risers here. This here, you see there's like these little places for screws. That is true. It is a place for a screw. It is so that we can anchor this piece where we need it to be. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the side over here. These little doohickeys have these nice little indentions so that they will fit onto those risers. So, like so. Let me get my screw to get that into the board. And we're anchoring our linoleum into the machine so it will not move around when we are carving. All right, are you ready to give it a go? That's going to close this up, and we're going to get our software loaded onto the computer and get it started. All right, here I have my project ready to go. One thing I want to make sure that you know about, so that as you are coming to use our Carvey machine, we have this nice little USB cord. That right here is what connects it to the machine itself, and that is the only way it's going to communicate with the machine. So here we go. We have our Yogi, and we're going to come over here to see the way it looks like on the screen. And if you see down here at the bottom, there's a button that says simulate. Let's see how long this is going to take. It says it's going to take about 7 minutes. I think we are ready to go. So if you go up to the top, you're going to see this green button that says carve, and let's just get it started. We're going to say that we've done all of that. Remember every step that we've already done. And yes. Now it's completely done, but the next important step is to take the shop vac that we have here in the makerspace, and we're going to clean up all those shavings. Okay, let's see what it looks like. This is so cool. So all we need to do now is get some ink and a piece of paper, and we're going to press it into the ink and have a nice little Yogi stamp. And there you have it. We've just finished making our stamp in the Carvey machine. This Carvey machine is available to you. All you need is a library card, your own materials, just come and bring it on in. We are looking forward to seeing you guys at the Makerspace, but if you have any questions, give us an email at makerspace@arlingtontx.gov, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Goodbye.